welcome back to my channel. I know it's been quite a while. I have some exciting stuff to share with you guys today, especially with this video. So why did I fly to Denver last month? I know it was kind of random for me, and for those of you that are close to me, friends and family, you're probably thinking, what was this whole trip for? Well, I flew out to Denver, Colorado for my face-to-face interview with Frontier Airlines, and I'm excited to share with you all that I received my CJO that day, which means a conditional job offer. So yes, as of right now, I am officially a flight attendant, and I have been accepted to attend their 3-week training course in Orlando, Florida. For some classes, they are split in Denver. So I kind of want to take you all through my journey that day, my experience from flying to landing, and the interview process itself. I just want to make a small and quick disclaimer that with the airlines, we're kind of sworn to secrecy with the process, so there's certain things that I'm not going to give in full detail. We have to, of course, keep that integrity all around. So I don't want to risk my job that was just given to me, of course, and I don't even officially have it yet because we do have to successfully pass the training course, 3 weeks that are going to be very, very intense. There's going to be a lot of tests, quizzes, safety scenarios that we're going to be put through, because being a flight attendant is more than just giving out your drinks and your snacks. We can literally save your life. Up in the air, 35,000 feet up in the air, we're the doctor, we're the police officer, we're all of that in one. So they do have to mentally prepare us for that, and physically as well. So I'm hoping to kind of take you all through that experience as well. But so I flew out December 13th, and my interview was December 14th at 12:30 p.m. There was 2 sessions that day in Denver, Colorado. So I will say, definitely for those of you as future candidates, please consider using the hotels that they provide, only because where all of these hotels are located, it's one long strip, and your interview is in the same area where you're most likely staying by what Frontier provided to you. They offer discounts. I didn't really see much of a discount, to be honest. I paid about $100 for a one-night stay that did include breakfast and, of course, the shuttle transportation from the airport, which definitely helps. Do your research, but also just take it from me, by the hotels they provide to you on that discounted list. Definitely look into those. There's Best Western, Holiday Inn Express, which is where I stayed, and then there's the other Holiday Inn, a little bit bigger than the Express property that I stayed at, which was literally walking distance right across the street. So definitely look into those if you can. So they started accepting us in on the 14th at 12 p.m. Our interview didn't officially start till 12:30. So I was already there. To be honest with you all, I was so excited and, of course, a little bit anxious. So the whole morning, I was pretty relaxed. I mean, I prepared. I had my little notebook, a little bit smaller than this, that I was just writing notes and questions that I felt that they would ask me. And they do ask a lot of scenario-based questions. Be prepared for that. Be prepared to kind of spin off a question. They might ask you, one question saying, how would you respond to this situation? Okay. And, you say your response. Then they might say, okay, well, what happens if this happens? To kind of go with that question. So be prepared for them. It's not in place to kind of, pull you off track and to just, catch you in a corner. That's not the reason. They just want to see that you're quick in your responses. And again, this is just my personal opinion. I think that they want to see how you can quickly respond to a question, and just to kind of understand and get a little bit more into your mind and how you think and how you would respond in certain situations, because this whole job is going to be scenario based. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to be faced with, from an angry passenger to someone who might, be sick, to a child that's screaming, crying. So there's so many different things that we have to prepare for. That's why they kind of ask you these questions. There's a total of 4 segments of this interview. So this is why it's a very, very long day. So please prepare for that. You're going to want to prepare for, of course, your questions, but you're going to want to prepare for other different tests and things that they're going to look at. They do look at tattoos. Any tattoos, definitely let them know of that beforehand. They're very open in the entire interview process, and they already start telling everybody and the candidates in that room, if you have tattoos, please communicate that with us, because we want to know. We don't want you to just walk out and, leave everything behind. So, I mean, obviously, if it's a tattoo that's your lower body and it's coverable, then that's fine. But you also want to make sure you have your passport in hand. This is something from the point of application to the face-to-face interview that you do need your passport. I will definitely say for those of you that don't have it, please invest in it, because I promise you will thank yourself later and you'll be very happy that you have that passport in hand, because there are certain set airlines that do require that you have the passport in hand. Why? Because you're going to be traveling all over the world. So you want to make sure that you have a valid travel document that has your full name that matches with your social security. So they look at all of that as well as soon as you make it into the hotel, because they use at least 4 ballrooms in that hotel that they do all of the different segments in. I was in a class of about 147 candidates. I want to say a close 50 of us were chosen that day. I was one of that 50. So again, I feel very, very blessed, very lucky and fortunate, and I'm excited to begin my journey and to just step into my dream career. So I'm still kind of on cloud 9. So bear with me, because my mind is so yes, arriving in, they're gonna look at that passport, they're gonna look at your social security, so make sure, and don't forget it. You're also gonna need it when you fly out. Another good thing is Frontier does fly out their candidates. Then for those, for those that live in the Denver area, obviously you guys are within enough close distance to drive. I'm not sure all the cities and towns out there and how far of a distance it would be. However, for all candidates in the US that don't live in that area, they will fly you out, and it's completely covered. Your bags are covered as well. One thing I will say, I was lucky and fortunate that I checked in one of my handbags, because they're a little bit bigger, and it did not get lost. There was a girl at my interview whose luggage was misplaced. It was unfortunately lost, and she was not able to recover her luggage in time for the interview. So she kind of had to come up last minute with the outfit. Don't know if she got the job that day. Again, there's so many different faces and people that I met personally that I kind of just lost track of who was who. But I hope that she did make it, because her outfit still looked very cute, and I think she was very confident despite her situation. I know I probably would have been crying if that happened to me. So they do say to travel with at least your carry-on, because at least you have your carry-on and everything that you need in that bag with you, so you don't risk losing it. Again, I was lucky flying out of MCO. My bags were there in one piece, everything was in it. So yeah, there's another piece of advice. So when you do arrive at the face-to-face interview, you want to be personable, you want to be smiling. Even if it hurts your cheeks, keep smiling, because they are looking at everything you do. And it's not to make you uncomfortable, it's to make you feel like you have to be prim and proper, and please don't be fake, because they're gonna immediately detect that. Any airline will. You want to be yourself, you want to be genuine. If this is something you really have a passion for, then you're gonna walk in there with confidence, with your head held high, knowing that this is what I want to do, and it's my time to shine. And that's kind of the mindset I had, and it definitely helped me in building that confidence. So that way it was portrayed, and everyone can see that. Definitely engage with other candidates. Again, as I mentioned, start networking. You want to start making those connections with people. You'll be very surprised to find that probably several people that are there are from the same town that you're from. I want to say probably 70% of my flight were all potential candidates for the interview that day. I had no idea, ranging from all ages. So with Frontier Airlines, you don't have to be afraid of your age, because there's absolutely no discrimination. There are some airlines that do not hire past a certain age. Won't say who that is, but if you do your research, you'll find that out. Not to bash any airline, but there are some airlines out there that are very strict on your appearance and your age. However, Frontier Airlines, I've noticed actually all around, a lot of commercial airlines, whether low-cost carriers or higher end, in the US, there's absolutely no discrimination. I think they appreciate those that are older because you have more extensive experience. So I met a lot of lovely people that day, a lot of people that were actually from Florida, like myself, some flying out from Tampa, some from Fort Myers. So once you make it into the interview, once they check your information, such as your travel documents, as I mentioned, you then sign in. They give you a little sticker with your name. Kind of feels like you're going for an audition for American Idol or something. It's actually really funny and it's cool. I kept my little sticker just kind of to stick in my memory box, but it's labeled with your full name and then your number. So that's how I was kind of able to see, I guess, the number of candidates that there were that day, because there were, I think, numbered from 1 to like 147. Mind you, this was the second session for the day, because there was another session very early in the morning, about 7 a.m. and some people were being flown out just the night before or the day before to have a very, very early interview. So I was kind of fortunate to have an interview later in the day because it helped me kind of prepare in the morning mentally and like, okay, this is my time to shine. I got this. So again, your interview could be anytime, any day. So you just want to prepare for all of that. This is why I'm sharing my entire experience. So after that, you'll go into their main ballroom. Now be prepared in this ballroom. As I mentioned, you want to keep smiling. Definitely take some notes because there's about several recruiters, managers, in-flight managers, and there's a bunch of important people that are there, especially the main recruiter, who is the first person of contact when you are in the application process for Frontier, that you will see there is, well, this is their chance to see you in person because obviously they don't know what you look like. You've done your interview over the phone already. You've applied online. So everything's been completely through, you know, technology, through social media, all of that. So there is no actual face-to-face contact. So again, this is your chance to shine. So smile because they are watching you. You don't think that they are, but they are. Smile, connect with people, take those notes because they're gonna give you a lot of important information. They kind of do more or less of an introduction for your interview just to kind of ease everybody in, prepare you all for a long but fun day. And then this is, again, the perfect time to take those notes because this is information that you might want to have for later if you get offered the job that day, because you will find out. You will find out whether you made it through or whether or not you made it through. So again, be prepared for all of this. They're definitely watching, but it's not to make you feel uncomfortable. I will say I had a face-to-face interview last year with American Airlines, and this was by far, in comparison to the two, day and night. All of the recruiters and all of the people that work directly in this process for Frontier were very, very personable people. They're all kind of like a small family, very friendly, and they immediately want to make us feel comfortable. Take a deep breath. You know, this is your moment to prove yourself, but don't feel like you're in competition with others. By no means are you in competition with anyone in that room. You all want the same thing, so encourage one another and kind of feed off of each other, you know, in the sense where when you're interviewed, you have those peer interviews, it's okay to kind of bounce off one another's responses or ideas. You don't want to take their full response, but of course you want to encourage one another. That's something I did and my fellow candidate did as well. And the two people that I interviewed with, two ladies, they were very, very sweet. And so were my the recruiters as well that were personally interviewing. So again, this is all a chance for you to really shine. So don't feel like you're up against somebody else because you're not. You're all there for the same thing. In ballroom, again, they cover those introductions, and then be prepared to stand up in front of either the entire, I'm gonna say classroom, or a certain number, because they will start pulling and weeding everybody out throughout the day to start those different segments, because for what I remember, there's about 4 to 5 segments total. So this isn't to scare you, but it's to prepare you. So in that time, you do read off some announcements. I won't say what it is exactly, but you do have to read off of a paper. You will be standing next to a recruiter up in front of the room, in front of a certain number of people. So just be prepared for that. For those of you that might have stage fright, anything like that, don't be afraid. Don't, you know, feel again that you're, you know, oh no, like I'm gonna ruin this. No, it's very, very easy. You're reading off a paper that's right in front of you, and the recruiter themselves are right there encouraging you, as well as your fellow candidates, and it's done like that. So as you're in that room, this is also, once you get through that part, this is also a chance for you to ask questions. The recruiter's going to cover a lot of important things and some helpful information, like how do you prepare for a crash pad, or how do you get to your specific base, can you commute, things like that. And you want to ask questions as well, because this kind of looks like you're interested and you want the job. So getting into that part, I was probably like last of the entire group that day. I kind of just wanted to wait it out and give everyone else their time, and of course prepare and get all of my resources together. So I was about the second to last group to go for the final rounds of the segments of the interview process. So first they do the tattoo test, then they also do a jump seat test. I'll leave it at that. They put you in a room and things just go from there. So prepare for that. Again, don't have to be nervous for any of this, because they're not expecting you to know how to handle any of this, but it's just to see that you can follow instructions. And so that way you can kind of, get into the process and prepare yourself for things that you most likely will start using and encountering as a flight attendant. So I really like the interview process with Frontier because they're already starting to prepare you whether you get the job or not for potentially the things that you're gonna start seeing day to day and using day to day. So I really like their whole interview process. It's very long, but it's a lot of good information and everybody's super, super kind. So again, nothing to be afraid of. Then from there, they start the actual peer interview. So it kind of feels like speed dating in a sense where they have all the tables set up and just one long table, one recruiter at each table, and 2 chairs. So you are interviewed with another candidate. This is a chance for them to actually talk to you in person, see the responses, and as I said, kind of see the way that you think and how you can quickly respond to a certain situation. If you're sitting on the right side of your chair, I will just say, small note, this side is probably the side of the more personable questions. I just so happen to be lucky to sit in the right side of the chair. The person that sat on the left, definitely on both parts of the questions, got the more scenario-based questions. I don't know if this is a specific procedure, but from my experience, my questions are more personal. I did have about 1 to 3 maybe scenario-based questions where they kind of spinned off of my initial response to see how I would respond if something else happened, added on to that. So be prepared either way. You might have a scenario-based question. Don't freak out, they're easy ones. And definitely prepare in the sense, if you have time, write questions down that you may have been asked in the past. You have that experience from doing a face-to-face, take that experience as well. Just kind of familiarize yourself and kind of prepare on how you would respond. So, because again, you want to portray that confidence. You don't want to stumble on your words. You don't want to, mix up or anything like that. You want to speak clearly, short but sweet. If you have a long response, that's okay too. But you want to be thorough and you want to be efficient in your responses and the overall process, because they give you about 15 minutes max to answer your questions in each part of the segments for the actual interview. So that time can go by slowly or it can go by quickly. Don't be afraid if you're done and there's still several other people in the room. You're at least helping the process and the flow because there's other people that are waiting to probably interview as well. So again, it's all up to how you answer as. And after that portion, once the questions are done, you go back outside. Again, all of this I will say is a waiting game. You're going to be waiting all day as you're going through the processes in each segment of the interview. It's a waiting game. So just be prepared. While you're waiting, drink lots of water. The altitude in Denver, I will say for those of us that lived or live out by Orlando on this side, the East Coast, definitely you're gonna feel that altitude sickness. I did. I was a little bit jet lagged, as well as I felt a bit nauseous and had a terrible headache and bad chest pains, which I just get from time to time. But all of that was a little bit more heightened jet lag for the first time also, which sucked. So drink lots of water to help yourself. Stay hydrated because that'll kind of help you feel a little bit better throughout the day. I didn't feel the worst of it until after I was done with the interview. So again, God was really with me in that day, because if I had felt sick, I'm glad that I felt the worst of it at the end of my day when I already got the job offer. So the final half of the interview is I believe this was with the actual high up managers, in-flight managers, because the first half of the peer interview is with the actual recruiters and the people that work in HR that you may have spoken to over the phone, that do the phone interviews, and so on and so forth. So that part is a little bit more relaxed. I will say the final half, if you get to that point, it's a good thing. But just be prepared and know that these are the important people. Everybody there is important. You want to make a good impression either way. But these are the actual managers and the people that are giving the final word, and they're the ones that say, yes, this person is going to be a great fit for Frontier. I want them to be a part of our team. They're going to be a flight attendant. So really sell yourself. Don't be fake. Be genuine, of course. Be confident. But just know that the questions that you're doing in the final round, they're really going to weigh in a lot versus the first round. And again, this is just my personal opinion, and I think that's how it goes. But either way, you still want to make a good impression all around. After this part, you then go back to the main ballroom, where everybody originally has met. At this point in time, you may see the numbers start going down a little bit. If you had a large class, you're going to find that shrinking slowly but surely through the rest of the day, because people are either being taken out to be given their job offers, or they're being told they're going home, unfortunately. And nobody knows at this point. When you're sitting in that room, you have absolutely no clue, no idea on who's going home and who's staying. That they did it for us is, I believe people that were being called out earlier were definitely the ones that went home, because I didn't see those people after they left that room. I stayed in the room with about 20 other candidates till the very end, so they were in and out calling random people by their number on their sticker, pulling out applications. Finally came in the very end, and they just started calling numbers at random. At this point in time, I'm thinking, oh my God, did I make it? Did I not make it? So as they had this very large packet and they were calling the numbers at random, they went from 115 to 110, 110 to 130. I was 143. And then they went from 141 to 125, and I'm like, oh my God. And then finally they called my number. And then there was a silent pause, and one of the candidates said, so who in this room wants to be flight attendants? We're all just kind of like, me, hello. And then he pauses again, telling you it's a waiting game and you're gonna be holding your breath, because I know I was. And he says, so congratulations, everybody in this room's flight attendants. And we're all just like, what the heck? Some people cried. I was gonna cry but didn't cry, so I think I got home the next day. Technically I had a red eye, so I flew back on a flight that was at midnight. So that was that whole entire process. But just wait, because you're not done. After you get your CJO, you are not done. You still have a lot more stuff to do. Once you get your job offer that day, you will do paperwork, you will do fingerprints, you will get your photo taken for your ID, your badge, and you'll fill out other important documents. You will actually be drug tested this day, so be prepared for that. I know Denver is a lovely... Please make sure that you're completely cleansed, because they are going to drug test you that day. That is all done. And this is again why I like Frontier's entire process, because you're taking, you know, a day's worth. They fully take advantage of you being there, because they know that this is the first time they're meeting you. But for those of us that get that job offer, they're taking away, you know, at least several things that you have to do before getting a job. You know, all of the process that takes like a few weeks and so on and so forth. They're making sure that they get all of that done while you're there, so they fully take advantage of that, which I think is a great thing in place. So be prepared for that, because once you get your job offer, your day is not over. I was not, my interviews from started at 12:30, did not finish till about 6:45. Yes, that whole time was me talking, interacting, you know, still making that impression, writing a lot of paperwork, filling out stuff. So be prepared for a long day. Keep drinking all of that water. Especially when it comes to that drug test. And that's also going to be a long process, because they're taking, you know, a few candidates at a time. There's only a certain amount of drug reps there, so just be prepared for all of that. Again, my full experience. Didn't want to give too much detail, but hopefully I covered all of the important things for you. For those of you that are aspiring flight attendants, that are going out to your face-to-face interviews, best of luck to you all. Just as I made it, you can make it. Have faith in yourself, be confident. We'll be posting another video soon to kind of cover a general basis of other tips and advice for starting out as flight attendants you might want to prepare for, money, looking at specific airlines where you see yourself. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all so much for watching. And for those of you that are also candidates that have made it through, hopefully I will see you all maybe in my training class in March. That's officially when I start. So yeah, stay tuned. And as always, visit me in the skies, because as of March, I will be flying all around the world. Bye, guys.